Well, thank you to Freakbase for that nice jam leading into our third episode of Ask the Rules Guy. Freakbase.com is where you can get a lot of music like that. If you like funk, you'll love Freakbase, and you'll be able to check out a lot of his swag as well. So I encourage you, Freakbase.com. Thanks a lot. That was Blizzard Lizard, by the way. Got a great show here for you today. It's a short one, but it's a good one. We're going to cover a couple different topics. One, later on in the show, we'll have Roth, the official scorer for the Cincinnati Reds, in. We're going to talk a couple of different subjects with him, like pop-ups. When a fielder loses a pop-up in the sun, why does it go down as a base hit and not an error? What is ordinary effort? How do you distinguish between an error and a hit when you're the official scorer? And who do you give the benefit of the doubt to? The hitter, the fielder, the pitcher, the umpire? The broadcaster? Well, we always need, the broadcasters need the benefit of the doubt. But we'll get to that a little bit later with Roth. But first we want to talk about is very misunderstood, and you see it happen a lot, especially at the amateur level. And it's umpire interference. And there are basically two types of umpire interference. One is when it happens behind the plate, when an umpire gets in the way of a catcher making a throw. For instance, a catcher catches the pitch, runner stealing, he stands up to throw and the umpire gets in his way and he bumps his arm. That's one type of umpire interference. We're not going to get to that today, but we are going to get to the umpire interference that happens when a batter hits a batted ball, a fair batted ball, and it hits an umpire, usually in the infield in a two-man or three-man crew. That umpire is stationed behind the pitcher's mound, and before it gets to a shortstop or second baseman, the ball hits off the umpire. There's a lot of confusion about that. A lot of people think that, oh, you just play on, it's a live ball. Well, it's actually a dead ball, and the batter runner is awarded first base, and everybody moves up one base if they're forced. One thing also to keep in mind here is that if it deflected off the pitcher, the same thing. So we put together a rules video about this on one of our previous Rules of the Week videos, and I think it would really cover the rule exceptionally well. Ted Barrett explains it, and you're going to get the benefit of learning what umpire interference is with this. Baseball Rules Academy presents Baseball Rule of the Week. The umpire is hit by a batted ball. There's another potential for umpire interference on a 2 or 3-man umpiring crew when one of the umpires is drawn in behind the pitcher's mound and he's hit by a batted ball, right?
Right, and it's happened to all of us. It's embarrassing. You don't like when it happens to you, but when it happens, you've got to enforce the rules. So what we're going to do is we're going to give the batter first base. All runners are going to move up if they're forced, unless the ball has touched or passed a fielder, not including the pitcher. If it touches or passes a fielder, then the ball's alive and in play.
Stat and Mike Scioscia. I mean, this is a break for the Cubs, big break for the Cubs, because the inning pretty much ends.
All right, we got a runner at first and second, or the base is loaded. That's why our umpire's on the third base side. And we're going to have a ground ball. He's going to try to get out of the way. If it takes a bad hop and hits him, we'll see what he does to enforce it. All right, so the batter runner is going to get first base, and all the runners that are forced, they're going to get a base also.
So if an umpire is hit by a batted ball, and the umpire is positioned in front of the infield, and the ball is not deflected off the pitcher or any other fielder, time is called, and the batter runner is awarded first base. All other runners advance, but only if forced. For instance, if a runner is stealing at the time of the batted ball, he is still awarded the base, but only if he is forced. So if there's a runner at second base and no runner at first base, and a batted ball touches the umpire, and the runner at second base was on his way stealing third base, he is not awarded third base. He will have to go back to second base. And the batter gets credit for a base hit. If the umpire is hit by a batted ball and he's positioned behind the infield, where the ball is deflected off the pitcher or another fielder, the ball remains alive and in play. The runners advance at their own risk. Any forced play remains in effect. And if the umpire is struck by a thrown ball, the play remains alive and in play.
Got a big, strong hitter, hits it. It ricochets off him, bounds into our umpire. It hit him, but that ball's alive and in play because it touched the pitcher first.
BaseballRulesAcademy.com, your number one source for rules of the game. Well, I hope you understand what umpire interference is a little bit better now. I learn something every time I watch that particular video. And another time that I learn something every time is when I get Ron Roth, the official scorer of the Cincinnati Reds. He has been in that official scorer's booth for more than 40 years, and we visit with him again today to talk about pop-ups, ordinary effort, who gets the benefit of the doubt, all those very good things that you want to know about official scoring. Ron Roth, the official scorer for the Cincinnati Reds, is our guest here on Ask the Rules Guy. I really should call this segment Ask the Scorer Guy because Ron Roth has been an official scorer for the Cincinnati Reds more than 40 years. Ron, welcome back to Ask the Rules Guy. Let's talk about a couple of quick items here today. Quick questions. Everybody wants to know. Pop-up goes up, sunny day. Fielder gets underneath it. All of a sudden, he covers his eyes with his glove or his arm, and he kind of tries to get out of the way. Ball drops in for a base hit when it should have really been caught, a harmless pop-up. Why is that and not an error? Why does it always go as a hit?
Well, Chris, I believe it's Rule 9.12a. Misjudgments or mental mistakes are not errors. And while it might seem an injustice to the pitcher who got the batter to pop the ball up in the air, I think to ask the outfielder to catch the ball while he's looking into the sun with ordinary effort is kind of tough. So it's just, the rule is very specific about it. And, if in our judgment we feel that the outfielder lost the ball, or infielder, or anybody for that matter, lost the ball in the sun, we have to score the base.
And Ron, it's not really only the sun. It could happen on a windy day, for instance, when the ball goes up and all of a sudden it looks like it's going to end up over pitcher's mound and it ends up somewhere in foul territory. Or on a rainy day when the rain's coming down all of a sudden so hard that the fielder really can't see the ball. All those are considerations, I presume.
Well, the lights too. In night games, they can lose it in the lights. And the key word is a misjudgment, and misjudgments, which are created by the lights or the sun more than the wind. Specifically, we'll give them base hits.
Well, that's interesting. I always thought that was a rule that kind of went against the pitchers because, a guy could get 3 pop-ups in an inning and all of them go for base hits, and then somebody comes up and clobbers a home run. He really should have been out of the inning. But
right, yeah, and you're right. But we have to go by what the rules are for us, and that's the way the scorers will do it with the sun and the lights more than anything.
You've been doing this a long time, Ron. Historically, has that particular interpretation been around a long time, or maybe earlier in the years of baseball, there were situations where that was not a base hit?
Well, as long as I've been doing it, they've always been base hits. And, it's kind of, a batter can hit a routine fly ball and an outfielder takes, 4 or 5 steps in and the ball goes over his head. It's a misjudgment. It's a base hit. It's a mental mistake. And those aren't errors.
All right. So in that situation, you're giving the fielder the benefit of the doubt.
Correct.
But normally, if there's a play involving a batter and a fielder, the batter gets he gets the benefit of the doubt. Let's go to a play where you have to make a decision whether it is a hit or an error. And it looks like a ground ball, and the shortstop goes a few steps to get to it, but he doesn't come up with it for whatever reason. Maybe it's a bad hop. Maybe it was too far beyond his reach. What are some of the things that you have to use to judge whether that ball should be ruled a hit or an error?
Well, we have a kind of a manual. It's not in the rule books, called our athletic read. And this is a document that was really put together by one of our scorers, Bill Matthews in Tampa Bay, who's a retired college baseball coach now, and gives us kind of guidelines on what to look for. They're not dead fast rules. It's not necessarily in the rule book, but on a ground ball, to a shortstop's left or right or an infielder's left or right, if he takes any more than 2 to 3 to 4 steps one way or the other, we have to start to be thinking base hit. That doesn't necessarily, it has to be a base hit. Sometimes, obviously the exit velocity of the ball has something to do with it, but you get an infielder that goes 6 or 7 or 8 feet to their left or to their right, they may field the ball cleanly and they're going to have a problem throwing a runner out. So you got to be, anytime they get over those 3 to 4 feet, we're thinking base hit.
Okay, so 3 to 4 feet. How about on a line drive where the fielder starts going towards the ball and he gets to it and then he drops it and can't make a play from there? Is there something about whether your arm is already, fully extended or whether it's only partially extended? I mean, how much you have to have some kind of parameters to judge a fly ball as well.
Right. These again get into that athletic read. And a lot of times we're looking at, there's nothing specifically in the rule book about where your arm is or how far is extended. But, if your arm and your elbow is at that 90-degree angle, you're usually thinking he should catch the ball. If your arm is fully extended out like that and the ball hits from the palm of your glove out, you got to be thinking, base hit. But if that ball's inside of that, you could be thinking error. But again, we're thinking on a fly ball right here, a line drive. A ball is hit in front of you. Generally, you're thinking they should catch it. But if your hand is back here behind your back, that ball's usually by you. You got to be thinking base hit there.
Okay, interesting stuff. What about the play where an infielder, especially you see this happen, an infielder goes a long way to make a great play to snag a hard hit ball. Maybe it's a shortstop in the third base hole. Maybe it's a second baseman going up the middle, and he makes a great play. Could be a diving stab. He's got plenty of time. He gets up and throws, and then he throws it wild to first base. It doesn't seem right sometimes that guy should get an error because a lot of other shortstops maybe wouldn't have even gotten to that ball.
Well, that's true, but that's what we call a two-part play. Part one is he dove for the ball, did a great job getting it. But if he catches it, stands up, and a lot of times you'll see like a third baseman will stand up, or even a shortstop stand up, pat his glove, heel click. He's got time to throw the ball. If he would just stay down, we're talking base hit. But if he gets up, he has time. His feet are set. He's in good throwing position. Then throws the ball away. Then we're going to give him an error. And again, we call that basically a two-part play.
All right, one last question for you, Ron, about the infield play anyway, is that now I see more and more. It used to be when you were coaching and you were coaching me, and when I was coming up, we were all taught to get in front of every ground ball that you can possibly get in front of. Now, it seems like a lot more infielders are fielding the ball off to the side, either the backhand or the forehand side, but they're not always fielding it in front of them and funneling that ball up to the chest like we were taught to do. It must be more and more difficult now to judge a hit or an error because a ball could be just a couple of steps away from, say, a first or second baseman, and he decides to backhand it instead of getting his body in front of it. It takes a bad hop, goes over his glove, and now all of a sudden it goes as a base hit because the guy never even touched it or just flicked his glove. Is that becoming more difficult, and how do you rule on situations like that?
Well, it's kind of, Chris, it's like the new norm. And like you made a very good point. Years ago, we used to teach the infielders to circle around the ball, get your momentum going towards the base. And now, they are backhanding it a lot. They're also barehanding it a lot, which you never used to see. It gets to the new norm. And what's the new norm? And ordinary effort for the average Major League Baseball player at that position. You just have to take all of that into consideration. Again, if you just go into the backhand, taking one step, one crossover step, that's becoming ordinary effort for the average player. So, you score it and you rule accordingly. But things have changed and drastically in baseball over the last 10, 15 years, and especially since you and I both started many years ago.
Well, great stuff right there. Ron Roth, the official scorer of the Cincinnati Reds, joins us on Ask the Rules Guy. Ron, thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll see you again.
Chris, always great to be with you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
It is free to look up any rule on baseballrulesacademy.com. No sign up, no registration needed to look up the rules. Simply go to the search box, type in your keywords, and come up with the rule. MLB level, high school level, college level, USSSA, all the way down to Little League. It's also free to visit the forum area. If all you want to do is breeze in and read some of the articles, no problem right there. But if you want to participate, you must be a free member or a premium member. Our section of expert analysis is a compilation of more than 200 different studies, case studies, expert reports on plays that have happened in the major leagues and at other levels, and all interpreted by experts. If you want to learn and get the same reports that are delivered to major league teams, this is the place to go. Our premiums members, full access. Our free members, selected content. Our video library consists of more than 250 videos, learning videos shot with Major League Umpire Ted Barrett and Chris Welsh, and a number of other experts. It'll tell you how to get it all done by use of video. Our premium members, full access to each of these videos. Our free members, selected content. Our Academy courses are brand new and they are a big hit. We've got Academy courses for pro, high school, and other levels of rules, including quizzes and tests at the very end. If you're a full member, you get full access to each and every one of these courses. If you're a free member, you get selected content. Maybe you like to take interactive questionnaires and quizzes. Well, we've got that for you. At the end of each one of our lessons, there is a quiz where you can take an interactive quiz, get ranking, and find out how you did, and even compete for leadership ranking on our leaderboard. Premium members, full access, selected content for those free members. BaseballRulesAcademy.com. It will always be free to look up any rule. If you want our premium content, however, I suggest that you log on right now and take advantage of our big sale. Now 65% off our premium membership price.